Lucas.
Whoops. Are we live? Let's have a look. Yes, we are. Keep screen. Make sure the podcast broadcast is working. Okay.
It's almost like the name Lucas in 20th Century Fox.
Hang on.
You know, for Star Wars.
Alright, well.
Lucas Fox says that we are live because you can hear us.
Yeah. Copy that, George Lucas. We are not doing Star Wars tonight, but that's okay. Hello. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Graz and Turtles Gaming Yakfest. This is a new podcast that we're starting, particularly on YouTube, where we discuss. People like the banter between DJ and I, and so we have decided to create an entire series just purely on that. I am, of course, playing Elite Dangerous. You can also join us on the stream at DJ's channel, DJ Graz 007 The Force. If you Google or YouTube that, you will find both of us are currently streaming, and you will be able to watch our content from both sides and both views, if you wish. Come in, dog.
We're also we're in the featured channel section.
Are we? Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, of course. You can find both... Yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying, I've completely forgotten to mention that, yes, you can find both of our channels on each other's featured channels list. So, if you're looking for my channel, I'm on DJ Graz 007 The Force's featured channel list, and likewise, if you're looking for DJ's channel, he's on my featured channels list, along with a couple of other gamers that we know. Right. So, DJ, have you got any topics you'd like to get off your chest? Has anything terrible happened to you this week?
Yes.
And
I sometimes die unnecessarily in this game, Bloodborne, and it annoys me intensely.
Unnecessarily? I mean, you are bad at the games.
No, what the issue is that the people who program this game are deviously brilliant, because as you get better at the game, the enemies start to adjust to the way that you fight, and they get harder as well. So the same enemy that you killed one hit in the earlier maps, on this one, I had one hit me twice and I died instantly. It was the same type of enemy, and he fights differently too.
Ah. That's actually quite interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Which is one reason why I really like this game, because you don't get a situation where you get really, really good at it and then you have heaps of money and then you buy up everything and then it's just a matter of completing the remaining missions. It doesn't work like that. You're pretty much struggling the whole way through. And hence why this is the only game that I cannot do a 12-hour stream. I can't do it. The game's too stressful.
You're too stressful.
That's true, but I've been able to do Far Cry 4 and Battlefront 12-hour streams, 18-hour, 24-hour, whatever, but this game, I think my record is just over 8. I can't take it after that, it's too exhausting.
Yeah, I share your opinion of lengthy streams. I personally can't do more than 6 hours on average. I mean, I haven't tried, to be honest, so, you never know.
Well,
But,
Lucas is actually agreeing with the comment about that even as you get good at this game, you still die a lot.
Oh, we actually have a
Just be
viewer
careful.
called Lucas. Sorry, I genuinely thought you were making a sarcastic joke about George Lucas paying attention to our podcast.
No. The person watching our stream, his name is Lucas Fox, and that's why I said that he must have combined George Lucas and 20th Century Fox.
Right.
Both involved in
I
Star Wars,
thought you were
yeah.
talking about the start of our podcast and how that should be in the title sequence.
Oh, no, that was my sense of humour.
Fair enough. Right, well, I mean, do we want to discuss the topics that we've prepared, or should we just let the natural conversation progress? Because I think we've got quite a lengthy podcast to go. It is also our inaugural episode, and later on I'm going to be downloading this video and editing all the best bits out into another YouTube video anyway. But yeah, Well, I may as well get us started on something. So, DJ, as you know, I've prepared a couple of topics from some news that I've found on the interwebs. And I thought, this is the kind of stuff I'd like to keep you completely in the dark on so that we can hear your raw opinion.
And of course, these being subjects from the internet, I won't have any particular strong or controversial views, so there's nothing to worry about, everybody. So please go ahead.
Okay, so there is a bit of news going on from overseas. I can't pinpoint the location, but I can tell you that it starts and ends with an A, which narrows it down to most Western countries and a couple of European ones and maybe an Asian one or
Starts with
two.
an A.
Yep, and
Starts
ends
with an A.
with an A.
And ends with an A.
Just think about where the most
Albania?
bullshit usually happens. Oh, I mean,
Albania?
that's pretty fair. Yeah, Albania, Austria, China. Those are all starting and ending with an A. And
What continent? Actually, China's not specific. What continent is this country in? Because that would narrow it down a bit.
well, it is its own continent, so that should
Australia?
self-explain. No, it is another one other than Australia and Africa. Actually,
Antarctica?
come to think, okay, there are many places that start and end with an A. I shall not specify at this point. I do apologise. Obviously, DJ being educated in the 80s,
Earlier.
bit earlier, he would have obviously had to do a lot more geography than I did, being educated in the late 90s and early 2000s. Actually, no, late 2000s as well, because that shit takes a lot of years. But yeah, anyway. So get this. There was an office, right, where somebody left a note on a toilet, and this is where it gets a bit ridiculous. This is why I thought this was worth mentioning, okay?
It's almost like you're talking about graffiti that's been read on the wall of some public lavatory at the cross. But anyway, yes, please.
No, see, the
continue.
sad thing is, if it was just that, it would actually just be normal, everyday. Just, I don't know how this happened, okay? That's how random it is, but it's quite amusing. There was an office that obviously had its own bathroom, and one day the toilet became clogged, right? So the plumber wasn't available to come straight away. They didn't leave the note on the door to the toilet. They left it in the toilet, okay? Like in the actual cubicle itself of the downed toilet. Yeah, so the note reads, and I'm just paraphrasing, this isn't the exact quote, but it is incredibly similar to what I'm about to say, I just can't remember it off by heart. The note read, to all employees, this toilet is currently out of order. Please use the public bathrooms across the road in the public car park. If it is an emergency, please put newspaper into the toilet bowl and wrap your feces up and leave it on your desk for Brenda the janitor to collect at the end of the day.
What?
I am not joking. That is real life news. Okay, now problem number one, like I've already mentioned, that note was not on the door to the toilet, okay? That note was inside the cubicle. So if somebody was having an emergency, it's already too late to stop it, because by the time you get in the cubicle, you've unzipped your pants and your body, like in my opinion, there's like this sort of sixth sense that your butthole has. It knows when you're in the toilet cubicle, and you just, your intestine just pushes everything right to the edge and goes, okay, it's time. I don't know if you get that as well, but I definitely get that. Do you?
Yes, I do actually.
Yeah. Once you're inside the cubicle, it is already too late. Now, problem number two, I don't usually sit there and read a note first. I will probably turn around and start pooing. Now, if it is an emergency, how the hell do you wrap that in newspaper? Because I don't know about you, but usually my toilet-based emergencies are quite liquid-based.
Look, I have to be honest with you. An employer, for safety reasons or whatever, Basically, the suggestion that he's made is illegal. You can't do that. You could tell your police to go across the road because you can't use it, but you can't.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just shocked. I'm just
it
shocked. It happened here in Australia. Does it say where?
yeah, it's
What state?
yeah, the STATESs. I don't know exactly where, but yeah.
So somebody, how did they talk about this online? Or someone just posted this online?
This is news because obviously I'm guessing the janitor probably took a photo of said
Oh my goodness.
image and decided, yeah, that's unacceptable and I'm not doing that. But here's the part that gets me, DJ. Why on earth would they recommend for you to leave it at the end of your desk for a janitor to come and collect?
Well, that's exactly correct. And the other thing too is I don't think newspaper um, is necessarily going to.
Avoid this, like, get rid of the smell?
Correct.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Oh my god, I'm fighting a person called Horace Lightning Britches. How on topic is that? Lightning Britches. That's almost better than Pendle Pants. Oh, I'm about to collide with him. Crap. I don't want to do that. I don't want to aggro him yet.
Oh no, there's a laser. Shows that there's a laser there. I don't know what to do now. So I'm not familiar with the. Where do I go? Oh, I'm being attacked from behind.
I'm joining bounty hunting missions on Elite Dangerous. Oh, I didn't get any money for that. What the hell?
What's so on Elite Dangerous? So apart from exploring and all that, so you can actually go, when you say bounties, does that mean that you actually hunt people down?
Yeah, basically these are there are a couple of AI bounties, and there's also real life bounties that you can claim on if you're desperate to kill other players, but you don't have to. And there's like these resource extraction sites, which are basically where a whole bunch of cargo ships will do mining, and a whole bunch of pirates will be, trying to steal cargo / flying through this area wanted. And you and the systems authorities can gang up on enemies, and you get your share of the bounty by shooting at them and trying to kill them, or possibly even doing it.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm trying to get onto that.
You know that you just reminded me of something.
Mm.
Oh my goodness. There's that discussion that you brought up earlier. The place where I worked before,
Yeah.
there's actually a problem with the plumbing in that building. Because what's happened is, where we had the customer bathrooms downstairs, when they
Yeah.
constructed the downpipe, so when they constructed the pipe to carry all the waste away, apparently they didn't get the angle right. So what happens is, if you start throwing too much papers in there, or do what the ladies do and they throw their own stuff in there, what happens is the pipe gets blocked and then you can't use it anymore.
All right.
Right, so we had to put a sign up to say to people, to say to customers, would you please not drop your sanitary pads in there anymore, right? Now, despite putting that sign on the places and that, it just kept happening, right? So I ended up having to install in there, because I worked out why, just the issue you mentioned with the newspaper, right? So So you can buy one of these special sanitary bins, which is just for that purpose that you can have installed in the bathroom. So that's how you fix that problem. But you'd be surprised how many people buy those antiseptic wipes, but because those morons that sell them give the impression that it's all right to...
Yeah, flush them down.
You can't. You
Yeah, I
can't.
know.
Because what happens is the pipes block and explode, and that's what happened a couple of years ago downstairs.
Why am I not getting any bounties from these kills? Sorry, I'm just a bit perplexed.
Actually, Type B, if you look at the names of a lot of the cities in America up north, like in North Dakota, I believe the city they're called Bismarck, and there's a few other towns up there that have got German names, but that reflects there was a lot of Germans that went to settle there in the States in the 1700s. We had a similar migration here in the mid to late 1800s, where a lot of Germans left mainly southern Germany, the Bavarian region, and that after Germany had reunification. This is a bitch running down here, and I hate it. First you've got to run the gauntlet, work your way up here, and then fight them off. Do a standoff here. Oh, there you are. Excellent bullets. It's weird how those enemies don't attack you once you go downstairs.
I might have to do this challenge in solo mode, because it doesn't seem like I'm getting the... Oh, but if I go in solo mode, I've only got the... Yeah, I haven't got any good bounties here, actually. The wedding barge! One of the other players in this game is flying this giant cruise ship style spaceship, and he's named it the wedding barge.
Why? Because...
Well, it just looks like a...
It ends up being a disaster. Because it's the most expensive ship in the history of the universe.
It probably might be, to be honest.
Together.
Probably close to the most expensive ship in the game. Close to. Not definitely there, but definitely close to. Maybe I should just try jumping back in and see if that fixes it. Resource extraction, where's extraction high? Still in dark circle. There it is. Let's just try jumping back in. Maybe that'll fix it.
Is a bit tricky. So was that the only article that you had to discuss?
No. I'm just spacing it out a bit because I wanted the conversation to sort of die off before I bring up the next topic. But since you've all but killed it, I did have another one. So this one is going to annoy both of us more because DJ, both of us enjoy flying a bit, apart from, you know, the subtleties of human life in regards to flying overseas on holiday. There was a lady
I thought you were playing the fighter squadron.
Well, there is that too. I mean, this would probably annoy me if I was playing Fighter Squadron and this happened as well. I'm just trying to land safely here, sorry. I'll be 2 seconds. Alright, I've just come out of hyperspace. Yep. The guy I was scanning literally just got blown up. Right. So there was a girl that went on a flight. You know, she's definitely of the age to be using Twitter, etc., etc. And, well, to put it bluntly, she had a horrible experience on her flight. She took a photo when she went up to go to the lavatory and things like that, so that, you know, she could show other people on Twitter what happened during her flight. But basically, the passenger behind her who is obviously a, some evil bastard of a man,
Alright.
he has taken the liberty of leaning back in his chair and putting his feet up on both of her armrests.
Yeah, I've had that happen to me once.
Yeah. Well, basically, not only is this now viral on Twitter and the likes, but it's actually turned into a bit of a meme. And, just... she... Apparently, what happened halfway through the flight, because she's obviously too much of a pussy to say anything, let's be honest. Otherwise, if that happened to me, I'd stand up and demand that the person remove their feet, or that the flight attendant, call security, or whatever. She's obviously just taken a photo of it, and she's the online warrior type, they post everything online but never do anything in real life. Anyway, so, this lady's just gone and taken the photo, and then halfway through her flight she's tweeted, "Things just got worse." And the guy that was sitting behind it apparently used his left foot to open the window. He's...
Oh, you mean to open the blind? Oh, to open that thing that you close when you don't want the sun to shine through the window.
Yeah, he's opened that with his foot. So he's now pissing her off intentionally. I mean, what? Let's say, DJ, and I know this wouldn't happen, but let's say you let it get to that point. What would your next move be?
No, but that has happened to me. I was on a flight from, so it was Sydney, Singapore, and then Rome. On the stretch between Singapore and Rome, I had a Pommy guy sitting behind me. I knew they were Poms because of the way, let me make a correction. They were people from England. And they were in the t-shirts and the shorts, they were really loud and they kept ordering beers, and then, one of the hostesses said that's enough or whatever, just one more. I'll carry on like this. Alright, so they were behind me, and I was with my parents, right? So then my parents are sitting next to me, okay, so they saw the whole thing. Next thing you know, I look up and I realise that the absolute, utter cocksucking piece of shit that he is, he had his feet on the top of the seat, so the heels of his feet are about only a couple of centimetres above my head. So instead of putting on the armrest, he's actually put it right on top above my head. And he wasn't wearing any shoes or socks either, so bare feet, right? So I've looked at that and I said, you better remove that. And he goes, why? As soon as he said why, with all my might, I held his feet together and I smashed him right on his ankle with my fist as hard as I could. So he screamed out in the middle of the airplane, and I said, that's what's going to happen, you fucking cunt, if you do that again. So the hostesses came over, what's going on, and blah, 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 and then everyone around me said, oh, he put his feet up at that, and he's sticking up for himself, blah, blah, blah. So they said, listen, any more trouble, and when we get to Rome, we'll report you to the security. And then I turned around and I said, that's right, because we may not know what side we are on in the Second World War, but we know how to deal with a piece of shit like you. And everyone in the plane laughed. I turned around, but my father just looked at me like, what the hell? Because as you know, we were having a situation back then, and my mother was horrified. As far as I'm concerned, he got exactly what he deserved. He's lucky I didn't get the hot tea and throw it in his face. Okay, because that is really degrading. Someone's bare feet being almost touching the top of my head. Well, he asked for trouble. Now, this was in the mid-90s too, where people used to get away with a lot more on the planes. Back in those days, you could make a joke like, oh, I've got a bomb in my pants or whatever, and you used to hear them sometimes, people making jokes on the plane about that sort of shit. But 20 years later, the world is a different place, and people don't want to put up with shit like that, they're less tolerant. Now, I've had this happen to me, and that's how I reacted after I asked him to put it down. He said, what are you going to do about it? Fuck off. Because I know that as soon as we get to the airport in Rome, and I explained to the carabinieri there in my nice correct Italian what he just did, and the fact that he's a bloody, one of these really rough, bloody touristy type piece of shit that's travelling on a string shoe budget, and he shouldn't be even allowed out of his kennel, shouldn't even be allowed out of the garden where he lives in at his house, let alone be allowed outside of England, right? He'll cop it when he gets there. If I go and complain, he's in big trouble.
Yeah.
So that's how I deal with someone like that. I had someone else try to do that in Japan as well to somebody else, was picking on someone else, and I just eyeballed them. Kept eyeballing, eventually cut it out. It was annoying. He was trying to crack on, so I really like what you're wearing. He just kept annoying him all the time. After 2 or 3 hours of that, as a male, you have to understand that if a girl doesn't want to engage with you in conversation on the plane, leave her alone.
Yeah.
Don't keep it up and keep it up and keep it up. So he kept it up, so I just started eyeballing him. He was sitting right on the opposite side, so I was sitting next to the window. Once I was on the window on the other side, he still spotted my eyeballing from over there. In fact, if I can help it, I don't think I'll ever travel on a paid plane again. I've been to, 11, 12 countries. I must have flown on a plane close to 50 times or more. Maybe closer to 75 if I work it out accurately. And I have to be honest with you, on most occasions when I've been on the plane, usually you get 90% or 95% of people that are really nice and you have a lot of good conversations.
Mm-hmm.
But the 5 or 10% that are pigs, oh my god, they're real pigs. It's something
Yeah.
for a living to be a pig.
I think it's because they think they can get away with it, like when you're on open water or some shit like that.
Yeah, they do. No, but they do. And in fact, this is an interesting topic because I've got another classic one which I may have told you before. But when I was in Korea, I had 3 Australians there that actually made me feel so ashamed that I kept speaking Italian around the Koreans and they didn't know that I could speak English. But basically, the airport of Incheon, when I finally got to the gate, got the flight back to Australia because that airport is the size of the city. I have no idea how long it takes to walk from one side to the other, even though it's regarded as the most beautiful airport in the world, and I would tend to agree. When I got finally to the correct gate, right, I see all these Koreans all standing around and looking at these 3 people that are lying on the lounge, and so I went over close to look, praying that it wasn't what I thought it was. 3 Australians in the shorts and thongs, they all decide to lie on 3 seats each because they decide to have a snooze there before the plane take off, and there's all these Koreans, all these old people standing around with nowhere to sit. Now, I looked at that, and the first thing I felt like doing was just putting my foot on their ass, and I thought, I can't do that, I can't fight other people's battles all the time, so I said nothing, and I watched. And they did that for an hour. One of them actually, oh that's right, one of the Korean ladies went to one of the guys and just like tapped him on the shoulder. You know what he did? He looked up at her and then looked back down, closed his eyes and completely ignored her.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. Hang on a sec, I'm just going to do another stream.
You think that joke could get old. Okay, that person is using an adder to go mining. Well, that's not exactly the best thing ever. But yeah, so, if you're just joining us, welcome to Graz and Turtles Gaming Yak Fest. This is a new podcast we are starting as part of our combined YouTube channel efforts. And essentially speaking, DJ is currently in his secondary stream, streaming live on air. Now, while DJ sorts out the secondary, nuances of his secondary stream, we're going to...
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm talking, I didn't realise. So no, I just put my headphones back on.
We're basically going over some basic topics in today's live stream event, and later on these will be edited down into a smaller, more bite-sized video for your preference and benefit. Right, moving on. Oh, hang on.
Countrymen who aren't America.
Yeah, well, there is definitely more than that. Did you hear the story about the toilet incident overseas, Chewie?
Gotcha.
Sorry guys, we've got comments coming into the stream. I will resume momentarily. We do have more
German
topics to discuss.
No, I don't
Oh,
believe I have.
Okay, well
Lucas.
essentially...
Hang on a sec, Commander, hang on. Lucas Fox, the name of the channel, you can hear the other voice, it's German Turtle. With a
05.
space in between. 05.
Oh, damn it! Holy crap, I just crashed into an asteroid because I can't see where I'm flying in this
And
game.
as I said, if you still can't find it, go to my channel and he's in the featured channel section on the right hand side. Can't miss it. Sorry, Lucas was just asking the name of your channel, man.
That's okay.
Hang
Thank
on,
you for
sorry.
pointing him in the right direction. Well, basically, Chewie, a janitor was asked to collect a whole bunch of fecal matter off an office group of office desks because their toilet was clogged, and if they were to have an emergency, the boss of that
I
office...
want to install some headlights on that sucker.
I do actually have some headlights. I'm just an idiot and not using them, come to think of it. There we go.
Oh,
Turn
I
them
got
on.
me. It goes back.
Oh, that's scary. Ah, ah, ah. Hey, I wonder if you can land on an asteroid. I've never tried that, actually.
Well, they're going to try and do it. They've done it once already. Oh, you're talking about in the game.
Yeah. I'm trying now, to be honest. No, it doesn't work. I'm just going to damage my... I'm just retracting it now, because otherwise I'm going to regret that forever. Right, anyway. I'm going to do a system reboot here to get my shields back up. Actually, the system reboot is one of the coolest parts of this game. It turns off and I get my helmet on, go to life support.
Orphan of course getting destroyed. What a nuisance, man. Oh, load of crap. I had to die, didn't I? Stucco. I'm going to do this all over again.
Alright.
This map is hard.
I'm going to jump out of this area and then back in, and hopefully we'll find more stuff to shoot at.
Oh, he got me with the...
But yeah, so janitor was asked to pick up newspaper-wrapped emergency poos off people's desks if necessary. And that did happen to be in your beloved home country. Now, that being said...
So I can't resist a joke, but is that why there's a lot of assholes at work?
Ha 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 ha.
Ah, Commander, apparently someone in my stream is saying that I still think it would be cool if you play Fallout 4 because you would be so fun in the game. Yeah.
You or me play Fallout 4? Because I actually have it.
You have Fallout 4, do you?
Yes, I can definitely make that happen. Or we could screen share it and then stream next time. That's what we'll do for our next episode. There you go. And I'll figure out how to stop that screen sharing stuff happening where it knocks you out of the screen share after like 10 minutes.
Lucas, did you want me to ring the bell, did you? To summon into this game, or did you want me to join you in your game or something?
Alright, now by jumping out in and out of this resource extraction site, we should hopefully create more NPCs to shoot at, basically. Now anyway, we should go on to our next topic. So there was a horrible
we could still
flight.
talk about the airports, about the planes and that, man, because I've got some beauties. I've got
Alright.
some real beauties.
Yeah, no, go ahead. That's the whole idea of this podcast, is for me to open up your 30 odd years worth of experience and memories.
So back in 1990, flights to Europe were being diverted away from the Middle East because of the war in Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
So to go to Italy, we decided to go via Japan, right? So we stopped over Japan, just a few people, and then on the flight between Japan and Moscow, because the plane stopped in Moscow.
I would still love it if
I
our
got-
group played a game of Borderlands.
I agree, Chewie. Actually, I might get the iPad on silent just for now. Go on with your story, DJ.
Actually, I don't mind that you can hear that voice, believe it or not, 'cause I think I don't know why, but I never get sick of Stephen Hawking's voice.
Yeah, no, Steve is great. Steve is a great assistant.
um, anyway, so there's this father, mother, and son. The son must have been 10, 11, 12, or whatever, and just decided that the kid that was sitting behind me, directly behind my chair, because of course I always get them directly
All
behind
hail
me,
Steve.
he decides to, hail the hawk.
Hail the Hawk.
Yeah, so this little kid just kept setting up the, sorry, not setting up the parcel, I'm reading the message. He kept kicking the back of my seat all the time.
Oh, that's
So a
what
couple
I
of
always
times,
get. Kids that kick the back of your seat.
but just continuously. So there's a couple of times that I looked around and I said to to the father, and I said, look, well, I don't mind if he does it a little bit, not all the time. He just looks at me, right? And I think they were Japanese because I heard them speaking Japanese, and it's quite unusual because most Japanese parents don't let their kids misbehave. But anyway, this continued, and then I went and spoke to the hostess. And the first thing she said to me was, she goes, for Japanese, she goes, I can't believe it, you know. And she was Japanese because the hostess, well, the flight I was on was a joint Air Nippon Italy flight, so half the hostesses were Italian
And half of them
and
were
the other half were
Japanese.
Japanese.
That's funny.
So it was pretty much like my fantasy in the reality, pretty much, because the food was also a mixture of Italian and Japanese too. So
That would
I
have
had
been
the
pretty
best of both
amazing.
worlds. But anyway, so she said to me, oh, they're really bad parents, they're not disciplining their kid and whatever. So it kept doing it while we were having dinner. So this had been going on for about 3 or 4 hours. So eventually I got the shit. So I said, I've had enough of this. I said, I'm going to sit at the back of the plane. So I just got up, got past my parents, went and sat at the back of the plane. Okay. So there's this old guy sitting at the back in a business suit, mate, and he's smoking a Cuban cigar and he's drinking vodka, right? And he reminded me of the famous Russian actor Peter Ustinov. I don't know if you know Peter Ustinov. He was a famous Russian actor. I think he was Russian, from the 60s and 70s. He was quite a big fellow with a big head.
I love those
But
guys. They look so
but
funny.
he actually looks like, he could look funny when he wanted to be funny, but when he wanted to be serious, he looked really, really serious. It's sort of that type of character, Peter Ustinov guy. So I sat next to him, started talking to him, and I find out that he was the boss of the Alitalia branch that was based in Moscow.
Oh,
And
shit.
he's...
Sorry,
I'm
I just
serious.
gained a
From
bounty.
Moscow. Was that good or bad?
Very bad in this game. I'm basically being chased by a billion ships that all want to kill me for an easy shot at money. My shields are offline. Oh, come on, I've got to get out of mass lock. Come on, come on. Ah, this always happens. Come on. I didn't just pay so much money to have this ship blow up on
Tired of
itself.
having to reload the page constantly. Emma join you in party.
Alright,
Who's that?
that's
Good
Chewie.
luck. Good sir.
Alright, I managed to escape. Anyway, go on. So, the guy looked like a mafioso, the guy you were sitting next to.
Well, no, he looked like a Russian.
Oh, okay.
Typical Russian guy, right? Anyway, so he turns out to be the boss of Alitalia Moscow, and he was catching a flight back for oh, you son of a bitch! We killed each other at the same time. I don't think I've ever had that happen before in Bloodborne. Oh shit, we both died at the same time. Anyway, so I started talking to him and all that. So yeah, so he's the boss of Alitalia Moscow. He was hitching a ride back, and I knew he wasn't full of shit because the hostesses were all fussing all over him, and I spoke to one of them afterwards, and I said, who's that guy? And she confirmed the same thing.
Yeah.
Hang on a sec, someone wants me to summon the lamp. Lucas Fox, the code, the password is HHH, so triple H. I'll ring the bell now. Where is it? This one. Okay. I'll ring it now. It's probably see what I'm doing anyway. So it's this one. Yeah, so triple H. You should be able to join me wherever this. Oh no, hang on a minute. Don't we have to meet at a certain place? It depends on where you're up to too. So, it's not working. Well, that's a bummer. Why it's not working? Lucas Fox, where are you up to? Because if you're earlier in the map, because of the way this game works, you can only meet certain places where both you and I are up to, I think. Well, let me know anyway if I have to meet at a different spot. I'll just practice this. Yeah, so anyway, and they kept serving in, I said, no, it's vodka, and I'd never seen this brand before. But because I'd been studying a lot of politics at uni and I'd been reading a lot about the Russians and their Molotov cocktails, the bottle looked familiar, and I had a suspicion that that was the top-notch vodka that only the Russians that are, say, in the politics or the rich ones can afford to drink because it's made out of sweet potato. And that's exactly what it was. Now, I was a heavy vodka drinker back then. So basically, he's presenting me with probably the best vodka made on the planet. And I had one taste of it and I couldn't believe how good it was. It was the best vodka I ever drank. So you know what? He had half a bottle. I fucking drank the other half. And then he smoked 5 Cuban cigars in a row and I only managed to do 3. Right? I was so out of it that when we got to Moscow, we only got off the plane for a couple of hours. I was staggering around the airport, right? When we got to Rome, because when we got back on the plane, then we drank some more, because those people sat behind me again, so I said, no, I'm not putting up with that again. So when I got to Rome, I absolutely reeked of cigar and alcohol. So my cousins hadn't seen me for 10 years. The last time they saw me was a 10-year-old boy, little boy doing as I'm told, doing what mummy says and all the rest of it. Get off the plane, they meet me at the airport. They're kissing me on the cheeks, my 4 cousins. And I remember the 3 on my conservative side of the family and my mother's side of the family just looked at me but didn't say anything. Whereas my cousin, who's very similar to me in personality and that, he whispers in me, Italian, he goes, you're quite a rebel, aren't you? No, but I had to sleep it off that night. I actually fell asleep on the lounge in front of all my family, my grandmother and that. It wasn't until the next morning till I actually started talking to them.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Yeah, I got absolutely wasted on the plane. You think about it now with the banning of smoking and all the rest of it.
Yeah, wow.
That's something that you wouldn't be able to do now, unless you're on a private plane. You wouldn't be able to smoke on it anymore. And there I was smoking bloody cigars.
Yeah, you've experienced something that a lot of people born today will never actually be able to do unless they own a private jet for themselves. That is literally how far you have to go to be able to smoke and drink on a plane properly now. So, well done. Well done, sir. You have an experience that the rest of us could only dream about.
Oh, there is one other experience I'd like to recount when I was on the plane. Lucas Fox, sorry, just to answer your question. No, I'm on online mode. So that's why I don't understand why this isn't working. But it worked before because I summoned another guy that came into my game earlier, so I know the bill's working. But I don't know why it's not doing it there.
I'd just like to tell everybody that I'm currently going 400 times the speed of light. And it's still going to take me 4.7 days to get to my destination if I don't activate the secondary drive.
Oh, here's my next story.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so I'm about 10 years old, and this is the third trip
Are
to.
you?
This was the one where I lived over there for a year, and my father wasn't there.
Mm.
Anyway, so when we got to Singapore, we were hanging around in the airport, and while my mum was looking some shops, I decided that the conveyor belt that carries all your luggage around,
Yeah.
I thought it would be fun to just sit myself down in lotus position on the conveyor belt and see where it would take me. Okay, so what happened was, so I sat down on it in the quiet part of the airport, so that I went through the flaps, and to my amazement, the conveyor belt does a snake. It goes all around the back of the airport, where all the little those things that they drive that carry a luggage, the luggage train thing,
Yeah.
where those things all parked unloading the luggage. As all the workers saw me, they were all pissing themselves laughing. There's this luggage coming down and this kid coming down. I worked my way all around the back of the airport. And then I came out the other side because they didn't have it in those days where the luggage comes out and gets spat down like it does now. Before then, everything was flat,
Yeah. I remember that
right?
actually.
Today, as a kid, I wouldn't have done that because I know that I would have got trapped in one of those machines, right? But back in those days, it was all flat. So all the luggage was being manually put onto the conveyor belt. So there's all these Chinese and Indian workers at the back pissing themselves laughing. Then finally I came out the other end and I realised I was over the end of the airport, at which then I could hear this announcement that they were looking for. And I could hear my name being announced. I thought, oh shit. So my mother, eventually I went and talked to a security guy, took me to my mother. When I told her what I did, she changed so many colours of the rainbow in her face. She just couldn't accept the fact that I just disappeared and just decided to sit at the conveyor belt of the luggage and just disappear for 20 minutes or so. Because I disappeared apparently for about 20 minutes. So anyway, so I get on the plane with my mum basically saying, if you step out of line again, you're going to get in big trouble.
Mm.
And so what happens during the flight when, there's the period where there's the sleeping,
Yeah.
they shut all the windows and everyone goes to sleep. Well, I couldn't go to sleep because I had a problem sleeping back then. I could only sleep 4 or 5 hours a night because of my ADHD and whatever else, my horniness, whatever else that keeps me awake at night. So I got bored, and because I found some of those air hostesses to be really sexy with the way they used to talk and dress and all that, because even though I was a
aren't they
kid, I mean,
just?
I could sense it.
Yeah.
I could sense the sexuality, right? And I knew they were sleeping upstairs in the spiral staircase, right?
Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
So you know what I did?
Mm.
I waited for the right moment when no one was looking. I snuck upstairs, and there was 3 air hostesses sleeping upstairs. So I decided to go for the really buxom, like one with the really big breasts. Obviously, as a little kid, that's what I noticed. She was sleeping, so you know what I did? I very, very slowly lifted up her skirt so I could have a look.
What the fuck?
And while I was in the middle of doing that, I felt a tap on my shoulder and I looked around and another air hostess was behind her that tiptoed up the stairs and she had a big grin on her face. And I was turning around looking at her shocked while I had in my little left hand lifting up this other, her colleague's skirt and looking between her legs. So she said to me something like, okay, little boy, I think you better come back down. She took me back downstairs. She got me to sit back next to my mum, who was asleep the whole time, and no one knew about that incident.
That's hilarious.
But she was so sweet about it. Like, she knew that I didn't mean any harm, that I was just, I'm a 9-year-old kid, and I'm just, yeah.
This is the most fucked up 9-year-old kid I've ever heard of.
Hey, I had a girlfriend when I was 7.
That's, yeah, I mean, that's a milestone. My first one was 11. Like, I was 11.
We used to do kiss and play doctor and everything.
Kiss and play doctor. Wow. I mean, by that criteria, my first girlfriend I had at 4, so take that.
No, when I was 7, yeah, I was in 4th class, and my girlfriend was 3rd class. So what she wanted to do is she just wanted to hold hands at lunchtime and after
She
school. I
wanted
didn't
all the
really want
tips for next year's exams.
but she just wanted to hold hands and that, and just a little kiss here and there. But that's all it was. Oh, we did a bit of doctoring and all sort of that, but we didn't understand what we were doing.
Yeah, obviously. I didn't even
Obviously,
understand that when I was 11.
That's what I don't even understand in my 40s. Anyway, yeah. So
Sorry, go on.
yeah. So anyway, I have a feeling that experience on the plane that I had, along with that other incident that happened when I watched Star Wars the first time, and I had what I now realise was a crush on Princess Leia. I just think to myself, I was a little bit too young to be that aware.
Yeah, but it's important to keep in mind that the movies position us to see it that way too, so it wasn't just
Yeah, but
you.
hang on a minute. When I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, movies were a lot less controversial. There was a lot less sex
Yeah, that
on
is
the
true.
screen than there is today. And I can tell you that my parents were extremely conservative. They were very strict, Roman Catholics or whatever. And in the 70s, Australia was still very, very conservative society. So that's why I don't understand where all that shit came from. Just seems to have been there from the start.
Yeah. Can you
And the other thing
invite...
too, I could sense when two teachers were having an affair. I could sense it.
Oh yeah, but that's that tension. Oh. I'll be right back. I'm just giving Chewy an invite. Ladies and gentlemen, please feel welcome our special guest, Chewy Cookies from Chewy Cookie Games on YouTube.
Welcome, Chewy.
Where is Chewy? Chewy, are you in the party?
Did he?
Yay! Everybody clap. It's Chewy Cookies. Welcome to the stream, Chewy. Welcome to the podcast, I should say. You are live on Graz and Turtles Gaming Yak Fest. And you are today's special guest to probably try and defend your country somewhat, I'm guessing.
No, there's no defending it.
Fair enough. Basically...
Okay, well, thank you for joining us, Chewy. You just pretty much summed it up. Well done.
Yeah, so now that we're past the whole horrible flight passengers thing, I do have another topic. But it is also related to flights, which is pretty funny. Did you know, and this is just an interesting fact by the way, that flight attendants hate you when you order Diet Coke?
They hate you when you order Diet Coke. Why?
Because,
You're joking?
and I shall tell you why. Because when you order Diet Coke, not only are you asking them to open the most dangerous bottle on a plane, apart from, live gases and explosives and things, but you're also going to apparently take up 3 times as much time as other people require to be served drinks and food. In the time it takes a flight attendant to pour you 1 drink of Diet Coke, 3 other people can be served by the other flight attendant. Because of how long it takes to pour without spilling all over your face. But that being said, if they have to open up a fresh bottle of Diet Coke, they physically have to take it to the lavatory, purely because they tend to explode from the air pressure. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, but hang on a minute.
And yet
Why
they still serve it.
Diet Coke? But why Diet Coke and not, for example, normal Coke? What's the difference?
Well, this is where the aspect of you being a dickhead comes in. Essentially speaking, with the combination of the high pressure of an airline, like the vacuum inside the plane, and the way Diet Coke is formulated to be sweetened, which is with a combination of caffeine and another chemical, when you drink alcohol with Diet Coke, you feel twice as drunk while flying. So they also hate you for your behaviour, consequently.
Yeah, well,
Well, I'll have water then. More filling anyway.
It's pretty interesting, though, that Diet Coke can have that sort of an effect on you.
I'm not surprised. They put a lot of dumb shit in drinks anymore.
but I don't understand. Like, I don't understand what's in Diet Coke that can hammer you like that. It doesn't make sense.
Well, apparently it's a combination of that and the air pressure. You can't forget that.
It's a combination of that and air pressure. Okay.
So
So it can
something
only
to
really
do with...
happen on the airplane.
Basically, your blood veins have to close up a bit for this to work, because that's the only way it can, scientifically speaking, be related to pressure.
Okay.
Or they open up, or they become more open. Yeah, I know, your blood pressure increases at high altitude, which is why people get, like, sore feet and stuff. It reduces your circulation, so maybe the alcohol actually takes longer to leave your system. Maybe that's what it is. Like, if you're having multiple drinks, that would make sense. There you go, I figured it out.
Yes.
Well, I do know that consumption of alcohol at high altitude definitely makes it easier for you to get smashed, which is why drinking that half bottle of vodka was such insanity.
And also, consumption of alcohol with a high attitude, as you were about to say, is also a bad idea.
And that's why when people start drinking on the plane, especially when I see them down in a third one, I keep an eye on them because
Yeah.
some people are just not very good at dealing with alcohol at normal altitude, let alone at high altitude. You know what I mean?
Especially middle-aged ladies wearing sunglasses on the plane who ordered whiskey or Contra or whatever. You always know they're going to be an issue. The ones that wear sunglasses, most definitely. Because, you know, it's that bright inside a metallic tube.
It is not that bright as that metallic tube.
Right, now I would actually like to move on to gaming news. And this news is mostly disappointment for people watching my stream. Because today I was meant to be playing, and I did actually promise my channel this, the Destiny Open Beta. And guess
but
what
what
happened with that? Well, today was officially the closing day of the beta, so that, you know, today is essentially the end of the demo, right? From here on out, you just have to pre-order it, buy it, and play it.
Right.
The original plan... Now, this is where it gets super disappointing. Apparently, the beta was extended, so I could have been playing it till Tuesday, right? Now, when I went to download the beta, I discovered heart-crushingly that not only am I not able to download the beta, but it was actually pulled off PlayStation Network and Xbox Live because Destiny actually wasn't happy with the performance of their own game, assumedly.
By the Force.
Now, this is where it gets even better, right? The people that have been playing, they're all saying the same things. It feels a lot like the old one. The weapon management system is crazy, and it feels a little bit bland and drawn out, and hopefully the long version of the game is a lot more entertaining. Now, here's the sequence of events that has happened to me over the weekend. I was working during the weekend. I wanted access to the early beta, but without the pre-order, so I had to wait 2 days. I was happy to do that. Tonight would have been my download night. And the download was pulled. But people who already downloaded the beta are still able to play until Tuesday. But people that haven't pre-ordered it or downloaded the beta yesterday, like I was meant to, because I was working, are not able to play it, even though the beta is still running for another 2 days. So I have no option but to tell people to go check out another channel for Destiny Open Beta footage. Apparently it is colourful, the weapons are cool, but take some mastering, and the controls do not feel like you're handling a bus anymore. Also, melee weapons, hurrah!
Oh.
And then the more exciting news is the Assassin's Creed Origins is coming out in October on the 27th, so basically close to November. Make sure you check out my live stream because I will definitely be playing it on release. And I have to rush through it as well because shortly after that Battlefront 2 comes out, which I know all of us here are going to be downloading.
Yes.
Yes, DJ?
Oh, Lucas Fox was just saying that he hasn't pre-ordered, but he's not going to. It won't let him play the beta anyway.
Yes. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe it's just Australians then. Because I know in the UK they're playing it until, well, 36 hours from now. It's not even 1 day, it's actually 2 days that they still have. But yeah, quite annoying to me.
No, I was a bit disappointed too,
So, that is the...
Happier
In happier news? I like happy
Ty-
news.
yes. Ty B's saying that he played.
Goose still looks adorable napping.
Actually, my dog's
yeah.
napping over here too. This is a dog nap session.
How is Spot?
Spot is very good, actually. And now that I've said his name, he is also wide awake.
Oh dear, sorry.
No, it's okay. His ears have been pointing up all night, but yeah, he's basically just lying down in his dog bed, which... Actually, I didn't tell you guys, I reshaped my office so that there's like these 2 plants around my dog's bed. They're fake plants, and basically they give him the sensation of sleeping under a bush, which is apparently quite natural for dogs. So he's so much happier sleeping in the office while I'm here playing video games now. It's awesome. And he doesn't make half as much of a ruckus as he did before. The only time now is when I have food.
Moose kind of makes ruckus even when he's asleep because, you know, he's a pug and they breathe quite noisily.
Yeah. Okay, so what just happened is I went to pat my dog, and he sort of rolled over so that I could access his belly, you know, because dogs love their belly scratches. And he had 2 tennis balls between his legs that just sort of rolled out. Hi, Storm Chopper, welcome back. Just so you know, you're currently live on Graz and Turtle's first ever podcast. And Steve will be turned off when we need silence.
GTG Chores. SRY.
No, that's okay. Nice of you to pop in anyway, Storm Chopper. Catch you around. Chores suck. I agree. Actually,
Lucas,
what if...
try
Okay, we'll
and
wait
ring
for
the
this.
bell, call me to your world. See if that works.
DJ,
Sorry, guys. Yep.
what is that one annoying chore your parents made you do as you were growing up? The one thing that you always either forgot to do or they would just continuously nag you about it endlessly. What was it?
I think the thing that they used to bust my balls on the most was, I suppose it was just, when we used to go out in public, just the way that it used to be on hyper alert in terms of what we were eating. I had to keep my elbows together, and you know, my mum most of the time would pick the clothes for me, and there was a couple of times where I was bad enough that I come home with a black eye and that, without having to walk around dressed like this, so I get bashed up even more. It was a little bit like an episode of a show. You might get an idea of what I'm talking about, but that's what annoyed me the most was those little things. And when I was growing up, I used to watch the way that a lot of the restaurants and that, how the kids used to be able to get away with it, or run around here, run around there, eat with their hands and do this and do that. There I am sitting straight up at the table, eating like a gentleman with a fork and knife and all that. And as far as my parents were concerned, I still had things to nitpick about on that anyway, because one of the things was that I was expected to keep a napkin between like under each armpit, and if one of those napkins fell down, by rights I should get a whack in the head.
Yeah, that's a
No.
European parent thing for sure, because my parents used to do something similar to me. In fact, when I did something wrong, my mother would get this book called the Manner Book, the Manners Book, or the Etiquette Book, or whatever you want to call it. It's translated from German. And basically, I had to sit there and listen to an entire chapter about how I have to hold a knife very specifically in balance, and etc., etc., etc. Kids of today don't really get that anymore, do they?
Oh,
I certainly don't.
I don't think it's as
And
the emphasis
again,
is not like
I'm
it used to be.
nearly DJ's age.
But see, I'm only 25, so it's only the newest generation that's like never
Wait,
experienced
you're
that.
25? You're younger than I am?
Yes. Shock horror.
Wow, you certainly don't sound it.
Thank you. That's almost a compliment in my profession.
Well, considering my voice, there are a lot of people who sound older than I do.
Yeah, but at the same time, your voice isn't that bad. I've definitely seen and heard worse. Like I remember actually, this is an interesting story, and if it does personally affect anyone, don't worry. This is nothing to feel embarrassed about, because it is just completely natural and happens. But when I was on my third grade, my third grade excursion, we were studying how retail works. And we went to the local Woolworths supermarket, sort of down the road from my school. Well, I say down the road. My school was like at the foot of a mountain, so anything was a trip. And, it took at least 3 hours to come back to the school at a bare minimum.
So in other words, Commander, if you were living next to a mountain and you had to go away, does that mean that you had to mount an expedition?
Basically, yes, except we did it through Koala Coaches, which is the bus
Sorry.
company. Yeah, see how I dodged your joke by adding more literal fact to it? That's going to happen if you don't settle down, DJ.
Sorry.
Anyway,
That pun was horrible.
yes, it was.
I
So,
approve.
one of the people stocking groceries, which was one of the things we were looking at during the excursion, his name, and this is a he, right? He was 6'5", like taller than me, like a massive guy, 2 meters tall if you're using the metric system. Imperial system, metric system, yeah. If you're using the metric system, he was 2 meters tall. He had a blonde ponytail. His name was Jessica, and he spoke with a voice that was at least 2 octaves higher than Chewie's.
Oh, dear.
And this is a massive, tall, muscly man who looked like he was from a Nordic background because of all the muscles he had along with his long blonde hair. Stocking the groceries at Woolworths, wearing pants, of course. His name was Jessica, and he spoke like this. Like that. That was literally his voice. Sorry, dog. Sorry. Go back to sleep. Go back to sleep, doggy. And I couldn't put, that shocked me so much as an 8-year-old that I actually couldn't focus on why we were there, which was learning how stock goes on the shelves at Woolworths, the grocery giant of that time. And actually still now. But I just thought that was an interesting thing to bring up because as an 8-year-old I couldn't comprehend what was going on.
This is tape.
That poor gentleman.
Yeah, exactly. Massive muscly guy. You'd never mess with him. But his name was Jessica and he spoke with a more than girly voice.
What do you mean his name was Jessica?
His name was Jessica. That is what his parents named him.
I don't believe it. How could you name a boy Jessica? Since when is that a
Exactly.
unisex name?
And then at the same time for him to have that,
How do I get down
that high voice, it's just like...
Okay, I just got a really stupid image in my head. You know how, like, in cartoons, they'll be like, now you have to deal with Tiffany.
Yeah.
and the person expects like some girl to come out, but instead it's some buff dude.
That's
Yeah,
exactly what
Jessica.
this was, but real life. It was like Johnny Bravo wearing a fucking blonde wig, tied up in a ponytail, and in a Woolworths uniform, which back then looked like a green and white Pizza Hut uniform. By the way, if you're trying to picture
Oh,
it
dear.
better. I just didn't know what to think of the situation. And in fact, to this day, I still wonder why he was called Jessica and whether or not he changed his name.
I hope he did.
Yeah, me
He
too.
is.
That's what she said. DJ, have you prepared any topics for the podcast?
Oh, okay, Toby, if you're going to play Fallout 4, no worries, I'll talk to you later.
Actually, I might switch games because I've actually ruined this game for myself for 24 hours. Because I
Which
got
one?
a Elite Dangerous. I'm just traveling to another area to do some missions, but while I was bounty hunting, I accidentally shot the police ship, which is what it essentially is. I shot the police ship, and I've got a bounty on my head for 24 hours, so I can't do any more bounty hunting, or they'll start shooting at me as soon as I get into the system.
And you can't take them on.
Either I take them on and I get wiped out. Put it this way, okay? I am essentially in a B-wing, and the enemies are all flying Corvettes, and there's at least 4 of them against me, even if there's no other players there.
Well, if you've got enough ammo in that B-wing, you can easily take on those Corvettes. B-wings were meant to take on Star Destroyers.
Okay, bad example. I'm essentially flying around in the V-wing from Rogue Squadron, the game on Nintendo 64.
Ah.
And I have to take on Corvettes that were made for taking down other Corvettes. And their cannons are still good enough to hit smaller ships.
Oh dear.
So I can't go there for another 23 hours at least. Because I shot at those ships by accident. And I didn't stop because I didn't realise I had the wrong target targeted. So it went from a 6-minute ban to a 24-hour ban. Bounty, not ban.
Yeah, I saw that happening, and you like starting to panic and shit, and
Yeah.
I saw you jump into light speed or whatever.
That was Super Cruise. Light speed is even harder, higher, faster, more crazy
you know
looking.
what? Actually, I do have a topic that has really got my goat.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, a giddy goat topic.
Well, you know how there was this discussion about how on Battlefront 2 that maybe you might have to pay to access certain ammo dumps?
Yes.
Well, I think that really sucks to the nth degree. I think
I
it's
don't
completely unacceptable.
think you have to pay to access certain ammo dumps. I think you get certain ammo types out of pay-to-play chests.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that it's not ammo based anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I hope not, because it just annoys me about, you know how they have these games with microtransactions?
Yeah, look, Battlefront 2 will have microtransactions, that is a thing, but at the end of the day, if it's not balanced, then it can't call itself a first-person shooter at all. So they will have to find a way to balance it regardless.
Yeah, I did not see an ammo counter on the screen. In
No,
any
definitely
of
not
the
that.
different things I saw.
But I do agree, microtransactions are a very big deal in the gaming community at the moment, and I disagree with them strongly. Because when you buy a game, you shouldn't have to continue to fund it. When you buy a game, you should be able to play it because you've funded it. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And if it really is costing you that much to make a game, then charge more for it in the first place. If it's good enough, people will pay that sort of money for it. And if you take the time and make it good enough, people will be more likely to pay that money for it. Like if Battlefront came out instead of like in November, next year November, I would be more than excited to buy it purely because of how long it took, which means they put real effort and work into it.
Gotcha. Oh, it's just that, like, it's just introducing a concept that something that's been taken for granted in gaming for the last 20, 30 years, that, you can pick up a health or you can pick up a replenishment of the ammo, whatever, and now suddenly they're literally becoming chests that you have to pay to access. I just think even just the
Yeah,
idea of it
that's
is a
not
That's
disgrace.
not how it
what Battlefront's
works.
doing,
Yeah.
Yeah,
thankfully.
no, but I'm just saying that concept, I wouldn't be surprised if someone tries to introduce that into a game just to, as a way of sneaking in
They already
microtransactions
have. It's
that
called
way.
Mass Effect Andromeda. The
Oh, do they
ultimate
do it in that
online
game, do they?
multiplayer, you pay money, like you don't have to, you can grind for to unlock chests which give you certain characters and certain boosts in the online modes, including the ability to get more experience faster.
And that's made by EA. Wonderful.
Is it?
Is it?
Mass Effect is made by EA, remember?
No,
I actually
great.
didn't remember that. That's wow. Well, there you
The
go.
original trilogy was made by EA.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So
I
we
know
know they
that a
have the
lot of
capability to do it, but we know that's not how they're doing it. I think the pay-to-play in Star Wars Battlefront comes with weapon
But that's
unlocking.
only coop, not PvP.
Yeah, co-op, not person versus person. Exactly, you are correct. The basis of what we're saying, Kush, is we're hoping that they have actually balanced it in other ways. You know? Feel free to have Steve recite to us, by the way.
Steve is love, Steve is life.
Steve is amazing. I bought Steve a stand today. Specifically so you can stand next to my microphone and off the table and not make scratching noises every time I have to move him.
A lot of the games on the Android.
Pretty much every mobile phone game is pay to play because there's no real...
Yeah.
Like, you look at a phone and you go, this is small, so I should be paying small prices. Even if the development stages are just as big, which is why companies like Supercell have Clash of Clans where you buy your gems and, etc., etc. But actually, people are getting really disappointed with those games now because there's such a limit to what they can do to them after a while.
Good. Maybe they'll come back to, realizing, oh wait, these aren't video games, these are just money dumps.
Yeah, exactly. Although I didn't mind the money dumps for time wasting on the train when I was going to uni, to be fair, but they just take so long.
For that, you'd be better off spending money on an iBook.
Or even just,
Or
PS4
something like that.
Pro.
Oh, there's
Or
I mean,
VR.
for like trips on a train,
Oh, right, yeah.
specifically.
Now, the problem is being at uni, I was already reading enough.
Oh, yeah. That's one thing about me that, oh my goodness, how much reading you have to do.
Yeah. Especially when you study classical music.
Problem is they're going to unbalance Battlefront 2 with their...
Well, yeah, they are going to unbalance Battlefront 2 to a certain degree, but I'm wondering how far that degree really is. Like, we don't know, we haven't played it. And from the look of the live streams, there didn't seem to be anything going on there, purely because the people playing it were
Unlockable
balanced.
chest BS.
But I don't think it is unlockable chests. I think it's just, like, unlockable equipment, which is essentially, like, if it came in a chest, sure, but... Like, if that equipment can be grinded for anyway, I don't know. I guess we'll find out because, well, problem number one is
Grind it.
yeah, the problem number one is we will all just be playing Battlefront 2. Like, there's no way people are going to stop us, and there's no way we're going to stop ourselves purely because we're all massive Star Wars consumers. So
Correct.
they need to do the right thing by us. They need to do the right thing by us instead of taking advantage of us.
Exactly.
And if they don't, I will be telling it publicly on my YouTube channel. I think everybody will be. So they are under that level of pressure. Now, if they do it wrong, and they get a bad reputation. Those second wave sales that they need as a game company, that Game of the Year edition, that DLC, season pass, all of that stuff, people will start demanding refunds and they'll be against it. So, even if EA does it, they have to limit themselves somehow, and that's what I'm trying to gauge now, is where is that limit. So I'll probably...
You can see vids on it's almost identical to Mass Effect.
Yeah, but they've got to be careful too, because what happens is the hardcore Star Wars fans like us may put up with it, but people that are less attached to it and treat it more as just another video game, they're the ones who will be the first
Only
to drop
no
off if
char
they push it too far.
unlocks.
If that makes sense.
By the way, Kush,
That does make sense.
I won't be playing Elite Dangerous later because I just got a 24-hour bounty in Abrion, so there's no point.
Yeah, I saw it
Embarrassingly
happen.
enough.
He
Yeah.
had to run out of the system like a bitch.
It wasn't giving me bounties at first, and then it started targeting systems authorities, so I just gave up. Alright, but I have made it to the new Dawn station, which is, always useful.
All good.
Well, no, not really. I think it's all very, very bad. So, gentlemen, does anyone have any other topics they'd wish to discuss? I'm definitely going to do more research into the Battlefront pay-to-play system next time we do this podcast. Chewie, you are our special
yeah, that's
guest,
gonna
so if you
happen.
have something you'd like to mention on our streams, feel free.
America is still being stupid. The head of our FCC is still trying to wreck the internet.
What is the FCC?
I actually don't know what it stands for, but yeah, it deals with communications and such.
Some of those questions you asked, Ty B, they're funny.
I assume you know what net neutrality is. This guy wants to get rid of that.
Net neutral. Oh, so everybody has their their real names displayed instead of just usernames.
No, what it would do is make it so that websites have to pay a fee to run as well as they are now. And if you don't pay the fee, you get slowed down.
There are good and bad aspects to that. And I'll tell you...
Federal Censorship Commission, I believe.
Thanks, Kush.
Thank you.
Steve, Kush Steve, the Steve version of Kush. The embodiment of Steve Hawking with Kush as his soul. Okay, so the in like from
Steve Cushing.
Steve Cushing, Kush Hawkins, Coffee Hawkins.
I am Canadian though, so it's a guess.
Steve Hawking is Canadian. Excellent. Yeah. So just based on what you've told me, then, without any further research whatsoever, I would assume one of the massive benefits to putting a price on a website is point number one: more rules and regulations. So obviously, if you buy something you're not happy, it's going to be a lot easier to get a refund than having to go through PayPal and eBay, etc., etc., etc.
Kush, Coffee, and Steve.
Oh, that works.
No, the consumer doesn't have to pay the price. The owner of the website does.
Yeah, but it'll be regulated.
Means-
Like, if you're Amazon, you're going to be paying a premium now. And you'll be falling under a certain domain of law. The other aspect I
That's
can
the thing,
see...
They already
you
have to
go.
follow, certain laws and such.
Yeah.
Oh, it still gets up.
The other thing I wanted to say is, like, if websites have to pay, there's going to be a certain amount of alleviation on taxpayers, I would
I
assume.
am with Chewie, keep the
Oh, no.
internet free.
I don't believe it, the snake's got me.
Oh, what happened to Chewie?
Nothing happened to me.
It just said that you came up in my suggested players. Okay, never mind. I
Well,
also...
I suggested a player.
Well, oh, okay, right. Anyway, if the internet was, taxed, for example, the government would be looking for new sources of Well, they would have a new source of tax, which means they would obviously not have to tax citizens as much or
Right,
increase
there's probably a
taxes
lot
to
moving.
citizens for certain purposes. At the same time, it could also make things a whole lot more, crazy with tax exemptions, but one stone at a time, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, obviously there would be a lot more cons. Fees for websites, subscriptions to YouTube would cost money, etc., etc., etc. So, like, where do we drop the line?
Yeah, I know.
1,000 meters from touchdown.
And there are many, up and coming sites and apps like Discord and such that wouldn't be able to
It's
meet the
about
demand.
controlling information.
That too. Yeah, if a website is, delivering information that, say, Comcast doesn't like, that's one of the big cable giants
Yeah.
in our country. Yeah, they can just slow that website down and, yeah.
I see another bad aspect
And
to it.
killing internet anonymity.
So that username thing that I was mentioning was also a part of it, possibly.
What did you say, Chewie? That they actually have the right to slow down the internet connection?
To a certain
They've
website.
actually done it. They don't right now, but if they get rid of the Title II classification to net neutrality, yeah, then they would have the right to. They've actually done it before, but, they got taken to court over it and, told to basically stop it. For
Which is how
a
it should
while
be.
at one point, Netflix got its bandwidth throttled for a bit, and people got irate over it.
Oh, I see. That would be very bad.
Like, they're claiming that it'll be faster, but nobody actually believes them. I'm
Or
thinking
remove
that
it
what would
from
happen,
search engines like Google.
Right.
like, what I'm thinking is they'd, give the companies that pay the fee the same speed they have now, but if you don't pay the fee, your speed gets throttled.
That
And
is
your
actually...
website is suddenly unvisitable.
See, that would be
Or
really
it's
bad
visible,
for...
Oh,
but
no,
people
someone else
will
is
not
coming
want
in.
to.
That's
There's
another
an
thing.
enemy coming in.
I reckon it'd be absolutely terrible for
Lucas Fox.
for new businesses, because if you're trying to get set up and you have to actually pay a fee
Exactly.
to be on a decent web
What's it?
speed,
Somber
you can't get
Skydiver.
new customers. So it literally just supports
Exactly.
existing corporations and really forces new
Tacky.
companies straight down the hole.
And something else really bad. So the FCC has to review comments by the public. Pretty much everyone is coming out in support of net neutrality,
Damage like it would
but
be.
Comcast is actually using people's names and identities, including people who are dead and people who may or may not be fictional, like Jesus Christ has weighed in, for example. And,
Keeping money in the hands of the rich.
Yeah, they're basically using those fake comments to build support to get rid of net neutrality. And it's fake. And Ajit Pai, the head of the FCC, is not investigating the fake comments and treating them as if they're real comments.
Wow.
Like, people will come out against come out for net neutrality, and suddenly they'll find that their identity was used to go against net neutrality, and they'll be like, no, I didn't do that.
Everybody should register their votes for net neutrality before the vote against it, so that they can keep an accurate record. That's what someone needs to do.
That's not
Make
how,
a massive
that's the
registrar.
Thing. The FCC doesn't actually, have to listen to the people, I guess. They could just hear the people, and if people say one thing and then the FCC does something else. It only says they have to, look at, the comments and, take them into consideration. It doesn't say
Who's the
they
FCC?
have to listen to it.
The Federal
The people
Censorship
who-
Commission, according
Yeah.
to Kush, who is Canadian.
Or Federal Communications Commission, I don't know which.
Oh, is that the body where people that have a problem with something that's on TV, that's where they send their complaints to?
Probably.
So it's like Free TV Australia's board.
Exactly.
Oh.
And if it works exactly the same way, then it's a completely toothless tiger and just a waste of time because those people don't do anything.
Yeah, but I doubt it is in America because they have more... What's the word I'm looking for? Being completely
CFIV.
polite, you have more
Have a good night.
old-fashioned viewed citizens.
Yeah, I know.
Is that okay to say?
People, yes, it is very okay. Most of them watch Fox News.
Yes, which we all know is over-dramatized and fairly inaccurate. In fact, primarily
More than
inaccurate.
fairly.
All
inaccurate. I
American
don't-
government do is care what the citizens want.
Yes, exactly, says the Canadian.
Which is why they're deaf.
It does kind of feel,
Seriously, though, I
Chewy, like
suggested
you're being
Kush as
forced...
an invitation if you
Oh,
want to
yes,
invite
right.
him.
Kush, we are going to put you on air. Not thin air, just air.
It'll actually be thick air, thick with tension
Where'd she
or
go?
something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, there you are. I'm trying to stay behind these rocks, man.
And there he is. Ladies and gentlemen, give a warm welcome to Kush Coffee and Games, live on Graz and Turtle's Gaming Yakfest podcast. Kush Coffee and Games, can you hear us properly?
Yeah.
Of course I can.
Excellent. I would like to unleash your muzzle and allow you to now comment properly.
Yeah.
Rather
Anyway,
than commenting through Steve.
Internet neutrality is hugely important because not only does it basically protects the internet from the government and various governments joining in, but
couple
it
more
protects
damage.
us from getting fucked with.
Hmm.
Right now, the internet is like it's untested waters. There's no real law binding the whole internet. There's only laws in certain states and certain countries binding the internet, and more what people do on them. Now, there's the benefit of if we get rid of net neutrality, that means that people in Afghanistan, Iran, India, Asia, anywhere that they're doing those computer scams and shit like that, people like that can be persecuted. However, it gives the governments exorbitant amounts of control over the internet. It means that they would be able to start making laws for the internet. You would not be able to say certain things, you would not be able to do certain things, and you would lose all of your anonymity completely.
I would like
So if
to
you said
ask...
something the government doesn't like, if you said something that was racist or something that you didn't mean in a drunken fucking fit and it got recorded, you can be charged for all of that shit. Like all of that shit can be watched. They would have the ability to, it would basically remove all freedoms to do with the internet,
I'm
which
fairly
is the
certain
one free
that
medium we
that's not
really
what
have to
getting
express
rid of net
ourselves now.
neutrality is about, but that would be quite shitty too.
Can I ask one
America's
pressing
been trying to get rid
matter?
of net neutrality for a couple of years.
I think quite a lot of future viewers or listeners may actually be interested in this following question, and I don't know how well you gents have done your research, but what does this mean for the porn industry?
Depends on where you are and what laws which ones. What laws.
Well, let's just say you are...
Down.
Let's just say you're a busy American accountant and, you know, you studied for 8 years, came out with your master's, summa cum laude, and you travel to LA and, you know, you get an accounting job and you come home massively tired after the new financial year. And, you know, you sort of sit down to yourself and you think, I really need just a sausage roll, a fucking hot dog, and a wank. And, you know, is that person...
Hey,
Hey, Devin the Gamer. Welcome to the DJ, the Graz and Turtles live gaming Yak Fest.
I didn't quite hear what you were saying, DJ. You guys were talking over each other. I get what you're saying, Pendle Pants, and in certain places, like I said, like, internet isn't completely reigned over or anything yet, but there's certain places, like, I believe Europe, in a lot of it, face sitting is now illegal, and you can't make any porn to do with face sitting or any of that shit. Can't have it on your website, stuff like that, or you can be charged.
Wow.
So they're trying to get rid of internet freedom all over the place already. And granted, there's some internet freedoms that maybe should be restricted, but I'm not willing to sacrifice all of them for the good of six.
So the porn industry will genuinely have to move overseas if they want to continue filming. From America, if that's where they're based. If it came into effect.
DJ, bro?
I have currently muted him. Because I was trying to get your point of view earlier. Sorry, DJ. You are now unmuted.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
He
there you
muted you
are.
apparently for some reason. He was
Did I
trying
make a
to
weird noise?
specifically hear.
No,
Specifically trying to hear Kush.
at one stage.
DJ, what were you saying? They're making illegal in Russia, or trying to?
But what the Russian government has decided, because they're having presidential elections in 8 months, and obviously the Russian president wants to be re-elected yet again, what they're doing now is they're passing all this draconian legislation that even Human Rights Watch has said it's going too far, and among other things, the Russian government wants to ban virtual private networks and make them illegal, and that basically they want to ban about 80,000 videos that are currently on YouTube and ban videos that criticise the government or that sort of thing. They reckon that these controls that the Russian government wants to put on the internet just make the controls of other countries like China and that do as a joke in comparison. Like, that's how bad these are. So there's about 40,000 young people protesting today about it, and yeah, you can just imagine how that was received. So yeah, the internet is going to continue to be an area of battleground for
research
control.
on that before I make a comment, just because America really tends to hate Russia right now, and America has been found guilty numerous times creating false news like that.
It looks like
Yep,
VR.
I've noticed.
Sorry,
At this
can
point in time, I take every news report like that with a grain of salt, because yeah. I mean, even like the one where the most recent terror attack or whatever, where all those kids died from the gas, the thorium gas or whatever, the Swedish Medical Association came back, looked at the videos, refuted it, and said the White Hat Association.
I'll tell you in
were
a
the
second,
ones who were
Devin.
Being the terrorists and shit.
The
Sorry.
White Hat Association.
That's the ones that were like trying to save the little kids, but they like went through the video and were like, these guys aren't even fucking doctors, and if they're doctors, they're the worst doctors we've ever seen. Plus, there was like one of the guys that was in the videos that was like afflicted by the gas and shit like that. On his Instagram page, about 3 hours later, he had a picture with him and his bros, and the effects of the gas at the stage that he was in would not have worn off like that, which
Did you
shows
hear
very
what happened
heavily that
with
he was
the
a crisis
bus?
actor. So, there's
Um,
lots of fucking evidence for that shit.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the U.S. lied about that. Wouldn't be the first time they lied about something like that. Remember when they were sure they'd find weapons of mass destruction in Iraq?
Oh, that
Yeah,
was the
where
big.
we
That
at
was the
now?
bad one.
mhm.
That was a bad one. I
Hang
shouldn't
on,
have done
Devin.
that.
I'll get. Promise, I'll come back to you, mate. You guys Are you guys
Okay,
done?
bro.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, go ahead and answer yourself.
so Devin was just asking me if I'm in VR, and actually, I'm happy to say no, Devin, because this game is one of those few games where the devs actually bothered giving you the feature of using your motion sensor in the controller to look around as if you are in VR. So it's like giving you a game that saves you $550, and it's really just like everything I do in VR I can do with my hands. It's perfect. Like I look this way, screen turns on. Look that way, screen turns on. Look at that one, screen drops down. Same with that one. Same with this one, pops up. You don't have to have VR to play this. It's great.
Well, cool.
That's wonderful.
And now the other question he had was, do I know what happened with the bus? I'm going to have to need a bit of clarification here, because I probably don't live in the same country as you, Devon.
Is he talking about the bus that was like in France, possibly, that drove through all the people? I mean, that was like almost a year ago, I guess, but that's
There
the
have been
last
several
bus
buses that
incident
did
I've
stuff
heard
like
of.
that lately.
Well, yeah.
Certainly not a fucking uncommon occurrence in the States. All types of crazy motherfuckers there.
I need to build up my strength more. I'm too weak.
More to the point, I can't believe I searched latest news on Google earlier tonight and a bus incident didn't come up.
Some suicide bomber crashed into a bus and blew it up.
Oh, wow. That's terrible news. More to the point, how do you know about this? How did you find out?
Also,
Lucas
where?
Fox.
That makes a
can
big
you please
difference.
Send me
Also,
a
who
friend
was on the bus?
request? Yeah, just
I
send me a
mean,
friend request, man.
if it was a Justin Bieber bus, then we need to start praising somebody as a hero. Like, that needs to be front page on Google.
Oh, I like Justin Bieber, though.
I know.
He's trying really
I
hard.
know it's like dark and shit to joke about that shit, but like I had to.
Oh, jeez.
I do not blame you.
I give props to Justin Bieber for coming out and being like, "Hey guys, I'm sorry I was being a dumb kid, but you know I was being a dumb kid. I'll try to do better for you guys." I give him props for that shit.
Let's face
I
it, we've
was
all been
fully
dumb
expecting
kids
the
once.
roast of Justin Bieber to be way funnier than it was, though. People were way too fucking nice to that kid.
The car had explosives in it.
So, yes, well, I mean, I assumed a bomber was going to use
we
explosives,
got
to
that.
be honest.
I wasn't saying did a Justin Bieber bus blow itself up against a car. I was hoping somebody finally took Justin Bieber out.
What's the location, Devon?
Yeah, what country?
Was it the one in France?
No, the one in France, there was no bomb. That was just a guy driving through a whole bunch of people.
Oh, with the truck, yeah, that was
Let
tragic.
me see.
Let me see. Okay, we'll let you get back to that one.
I've got to go and collect.
Oh yeah, I still need to figure out how to fucking properly spell new sing or whatever. You sing, something like that.
Oh yeah, there it is.
You sing, I sing, we all sing for I sing. Hey, that works, because I sing.
Okay, good. I just accepted that.
Oh no, don't drop back into that yellow ring. I need to get to the sunny side of this planet so I can actually see where I'm landing. Oh, is this a gas giant? That would explain why I can't land on it.
Sounds like me.
Ooh.
Actually, no, if it was a gas
Gas
giant,
giant.
the gravity would be ripping me up into pieces right now.
The radiation
Well,
would be
that
destroying
depends on
you.
how close you'd be to it.
If I can be honest, though, it appears that my planetary landing suite has disappeared because I can't land on planets properly anymore.
Damn, that sucks.
Are you sure they're
You're gonna have
planets
to
you can
dock and
land
get
on?
that fixed.
There's some planets you can't.
Oh. Well, that would explain that, and I'm aligning with the escape vector for another planet. I was just going to land on a random planet because, yeah, why not?
Yeah. If it's like a garden world or anything like that, you can't land on it.
It's a
If you open
high
up your
metal
system's map,
content world.
you might be able to. I don't know. Open your modules. See. No, I don't think it's even in there. Yeah, I don't. It's pretty much like if you sell it, it's still kind of there. You can't put anything in that slot other than a planetary landing module. So I don't know how you really got rid of it.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, unless it's like...
Hey, Commander,
Hmm?
if you've discovered a heavy metal planet, then maybe you should call it Metallica.
Nah, the problem is it'd just be named Commander Pendle Pants as something, something, something. Because all
Yeah,
the
but
stars
if it's a
already have
heavy
their
metal
names,
planet-
but yeah.
If it's a heavy metal planet, then
I
you
get the
name
joke,
it
DJ,
after a
I'm
heavy
trying to
metal
skip
planet.
over it.
Okay.
When you find two of them fucking together, you gotta call them what was the AC/DC song? Balls? Big balls?
I don't know. I was
Oh,
just gonna say Black Betty.
no, I know what he's talking about.
I've got big balls, or is
Yeah,
that AC/DC?
yeah, yeah.
That's Zed Leppin? I can't remember. Such an
It-
old song. I've
I
got
think
big
it's
balls.
AC/DC, but
She's
I
got
can't
big
remember.
balls. He's got big balls. Like,
No, that's not AC/DC, that's someone else.
That's your mama. Nah, sorry.
Top Zed Leppin. I don't remember. It's one of the hair metals.
That's your mama.
Maybe call one tenor and another shisti.
Tenny Shisty?
Yes, Tenacious D.
Oh, right.
Tenacious D.
I didn't even get that. That was just me, don't worry. Alright, well, I can't land on any planets here, so I'm heading to Sothis.
It is AC/DC and it is big
Can't
balls. That's
find
hilarious.
it, but I know something else
Type
that
B,
happened.
just go to another stream then.
Something-
If the other guy's abusing you,
Something
don't
else.
worry about it.
Yeah. That's alright, Devon. Thank you for checking out a topic for the podcast anyway. Yeah, I think... Does anyone else have anything else they want to go off their chests? Kush, you are our special guest, so you are allowed one topic of conversation per podcast.
I'll come up with it later then.
Well, the podcast is ending now if you don't have one. That's why I'm
I
asking.
see. I'm good.
Okay, ladies and
well.
gentlemen, thank you for tuning in
I
to...
know something.
Oh, Devon, yes, you may tell us what you know. Last minute saved by
So
the
he
bell.
knows something. Does that mean he's
Nah,
not
your
Jon
stream's
Snow?
just got a pretty decent leg
Or he
time
knows
with it.
something about the bus. Something we might get exclusive information on right here and nowhere else. However, we are relying on Devon to...
It was in Afghanistan.
Oh, well, there we go.
Yeah, I don't blame people for blowing themselves up there. You get
Yeah.
fucked up for over a decade, have over 1 million of your citizens killed, and you don't really have a whole lot of options for fighting back.
24
Plus, you don't
people
want to be caught.
injured.
That's not fun.
Well,
I
on
hope
that...
they picked, like, a reasonable target.
On that terrible ending, that's the end of
And
the...
9 bodies found in a bus in Texas.
Oh,
In
that's
Texas.
a little closer to home.
That sounds
Oh,
a
you're
little more
talking about those-
Heisenberg-y.
Oh no, he's talking
What?
about those people smuggling. That's
People
what it was.
smuggling?
Yeah,
That
there
does
was a
sound like
truck
fucking
that was left parked
Heisenberg-y
in the
style
car
shit.
park because it was 36 degrees outside and a lot of people died of dehydration.
Oh,
truck.
okay.
That's what
Not
he's referring
bus
to.
semi.
Damn.
Oh, it's not a bus, yeah, it was a semi, it was a truck.
Yeah, no, that sucks. Unfortunately. That sounded very much so like the fucking Breaking Bad scene where Buddy's like coming across the border in like the smuggling truck, and then all of a sudden people notice who he is, and he's like, oh well, this truck's done.
Okay.
What's this? What's the
Well, if there are no
terrorist
further
shit?
topics at hand, giving a moment's silence. No? Okay. So, thank you,
No
ladies.
Breaking Bad law.
I can't finish this podcast. It's not meant to end.
What?
I know.
Oh, what?
What is that? What is that Breaking Bad? Because I haven't seen that show. So what is it about? So there's someone that is a chemist, a legal pharmacist or something, and then he decides to turn to the. And then
He's a school
decides to
teacher.
turn- He's a school
Well,
teacher.
okay. A little bit more of the
Don't
backstory.
matter.
Originally speaking, he was a chemist, and he
Devin, the
was working with
stream's
his
not
best
ending.
friend, and then some shit happened, and they had a falling out, and he sold his portion of the company, which
I
ended
can
up
tell
becoming worth
him.
like millions to billions kind of deal, like ridiculous amounts of money. And he became an overqualified school teacher and lived his life all prim and proper and good. And then he got cancer, and he had nothing to leave his family but medical bills, essentially, because America sucks like that. And so he fell in because his brother-in-law's a cop, DEA agent. So he goes and figures out that there's a lot of money in drugs and goes for a ride along.
His
and finds
son
one of his
rolls him
ex-students
to kill
escaping.
himself.
And so he kind of like blackmails him into letting him in on making meth to make a whole bunch of fucking money. and then it just escalates and spirals out of control from there. But it is probably the most fantastic series of anything I've ever seen. It's so good. The first season's a little bit of a drag to get through because they didn't really have the funding, like many series. But by the time season 2 is done, you're like, holy fuck, I'm ready for more. By the time season 3 is done, you're fucking addicted.
That's ironic.
Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. If you've had a Breaking Bad, make sure you tune in next week, where we will probably discuss it some more.
Experiences.
Yeah, also let us know if you have any topics you want us to cover, any latest news. Post it to German Turtle 05 on Facebook.
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things? Anyone fill me in here?
What,
I'm
Stranger
out.
Danger?
No, Stranger Things I think is another TV show.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless he's talking about a particular episode, but I don't know them all by episode names.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like, the United States has spent how many billions of dollars on this so-called war on drugs, and it's had zero effect. If anything, it's gotten worse over the last 20, 30 years.
Yes, and the government makes a lot of money off
went
it.
over to Afghanistan was for the opium and the oil. I mean, the oil was like the big one. The opium was just the heroin icing on the cake.
I think we've just opened up a new topic, to be honest. Everyone sort of wanted to pitch in then.
Well, it's just that it's created narco states, like you said, like Afghanistan and Colombia and all that. It's just, whole Central America is unstable, mainly because of the drug trade and the fact that the money from those drug barons is being poured into the political system. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you something real fucked up.
I'm happy I
Living
have
the life
47
and hanging out with the people that I've hung out with.
Good work, Devin.
I have seen a brick of cocaine with the American United States of America fucking stamp in it.
That's not
Like a
nice.
federal seal.
Well, maybe
But the
they're just
CIA has been
nationalistic
busted numerous
dealers.
times with planes going down full of cocaine and shit. It's well documented shit.
Oh yeah, but that's to fund their campaigns against the forces of evil, so that's okay.
Anyways, most of the cocaine that's on the street, like especially the crazy good shit, probably a good like quarter to half of it comes from fucking
Coca-Cola
the CIA
cocaine.
and the American government. So
Coca-Cola or cocaine? Well, once
They're
upon a
probably both
time
just
they
as
were the
addictive.
same thing. Apparently.
sort of.
Although Coca-Cola denies ever having
mean-
had cocaine within their products. But the fact that they have to
Technically
deny it is
they
quite
had-
sad.
They had like trace amounts of cocaine, but it's not like they had refined pure cocaine. They were just legitimately using the coca leaf as part of their shit.
And there's nothing wrong
But
with
to
the
get
Coca-Cola.
it to the purity of true cocaine requires a pretty serious
I love
refining
Coca-Cola,
process,
it's
right?
white.
So
It's white. What does that mean? Is that a... Am I missing
For
something
some
here?
reason.
Oh, I see. Wow, I'm terrible at getting the subtle jokes.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. With the amount of sugar that we consume these days, you know what they say, that sugar's the tobacco of the 21st century. Ticking health time bomb.
more like the cocaine.
It's
It
in a
is the
brick
other
form.
white powder. It does
in
pretty
brick
much the
form.
same thing to your brain as cocaine in large enough doses. That's why there's so many obese people that can't put down the spoon.
Yeah.
They're
Like me.
legitimately addicted to it like cocaine.
I
Oh, yeah,
don't
this is
I'm not
understand.
fat, I still can't put down the burger. I'll probably die at the age of 45 due to a massive fucking heart attack.
Well, I'm probably going to
Why?
live into my 60s because I have a healthy balance of everything bad. Including kale.
I mean, if we're
having a
going
good-
off of my ancestry, I'm pretty good till about 100, but... Like I said, my diet's fucking terrible. Like, fuck. I spent like 2.5 years living off of fast food and nothing but... The only time I'd eat, like, healthy was Thanksgiving and Christmas. And there's Easter.
There's a lot of missions going to Ceos from Sothis mining.
Do you have
Yeah.
Modern Warfare Remastered?
That's how you farm FedRank.
No, I don't have Modern Warfare Remastered. I was thinking about getting it though, to be honest. The community mission is
It's not
almost
bad.
at tier
I
7
will
and we're
say,
still
though,
top 25 though.
when you go back and you play Modern Warfare, you realize just how aged it is. Even the remastered edition, like the way the controls are, the things that you expect to have in the modern games now and like expect to still have that don't work, and you're like, oh shit, that's right. We didn't have lean around corners when we wanted to.
It's very
We didn't
fun.
have this, that, or the other. It's cool, but yeah, it's takes you back a little bit.
Okay, so
That's
I'm at
funny.
Sofa's mining station and I just went into the passenger lounge and I found a travel agent and her name is literally Mrs. Higgins. And she looks like Missy Higgins. Oh my god.
Who?
Missy Higgins is a country artist. I think she might even be Australian. I'm
She's
not sure.
Australian.
The HAILLLIM triggered.
Da
she's
hell, I am
Australian.
triggered. Good work, Devon. By the way, congratulations on your 43 subscribers. And thank you for being one of mine. Right, so I believe it is now time to once again attempt to end this podcast. Remember, guys, the streams are still going. I'm putting the iPad on mute. The streams are still going on both channels for a little while longer. Actually, a long while longer. And yeah, we thank you for joining us for the podcast section of today's live stream event. So you have been listening to Graz and Turtle's Gaming Yak Fest. And a happy, warm goodbye from us all, and hopefully everything turns out not so disappointing in the near future. So from me, ta-ta.
And from DJ Graz, see you next time.
Hope my country doesn't bomb you anytime soon.